Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny and we live and garden here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today I thought the weather is gorgeous. Some things are blooming that we haven't seen yet this spring. And so I thought I would take you around on a very casual, quick, hopefully, yard tour, garden tour to see what is blooming here on May 4th, 2023. I have my cup of coffee. I hope you have a beverage of your choice as well. Let's go look around the garden and see what's happening. Now, I'm going to be focusing on the things that are blooming now that weren't blooming 2 weeks ago when I did my last walk around. And so I hope that you watched that one so that you can see the differences. Starting out here at the very front of the property with our welcome gardens, the Weigela are in bloom and they look lovely. These are spilled wine Weigela from Proven Winners, and this is the let's see, this I put them in 2 springs ago and they're doing pretty well. The rest of the welcome gardens are kind of in an in-between state. Some of the things are coming along nicely and others of them are a little bit wonky. That Sunshine Ligustrum doing great. This one over here has to come out. It's just dead. And we have a Jackmanii clematis on this lamppost here, and it does have a lot of buds on it. It has had a lot of buds on it for quite some time. At least I thought it did. There's one. It hasn't opened up yet, though. The front of the house I'm pretty happy with right now, although I do have plans to make some changes of making room for more things. So let's go take a closer look. And while we're walking, I'll just show you that the side shrub border is looking pretty meager still. I need to make some changes over there. Some things didn't make it through the winter. All right, so here we are. These containers are not in their final resting places. They're just kind of sitting here waiting for me to care for them. But in the meantime, last winter's pansies have decided to bloom so beautifully. These are pansies that I put in last November for the holiday season. They're not even, they're not, symmetric. The Dusty Miller on the right side has bit the dust, but I'm pretty happy to have not really volunteer, but let's say resurrected pansies from last fall. They're very pretty. Of note, right now on this side, the Schubertii allium has lots and lots and lots of buds on it. It's got its little starburst fireworks shape going. These allium next to them, I think, are Christophii, and they are not yet open. And then over here, there's some Purple Sensation that are beautiful. This is one bulb that I planted 2 falls ago, and now we get 2 flowers out of it. They do multiply over the course of time. As you can see back here, here's another one. This is one Purple Sensation allium that I planted, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago, and now we've got 4 blossoms on it and 2 off of that one. Now, the white bearded iris are just popping open so gorgeously. I love these. I don't know the variety on them, I'm sorry. And the clump has gotten really large. As you can see, some of them are open, and then we have more buds coming along. The iris show really only lasts like a week, maybe 10 days, and then it's over for the season. But it's worth the short blooming season because they're just so beautiful. I do need to divide this clump this season, though, because there are a lot of leaves and relatively fewer stalks than there should be for flowers. So it's too tight in there. And Miss Kim Lilac, Korean lilac, is blooming now. She doesn't have as many flowers on her this year as she did last year, so I'm wondering how the weather may have impacted her over the winter. Last year she was just absolutely covered. The other thing might be that she doesn't get enough sun in the middle of the summer, but right now she's blooming and she smells wonderful. By the way, the lilac and the iris together, they both are fragrant and they both smell so nice. I'm very happy with that. Further around this way, some things are looking kind of scraggly. I need to do some work here. But of note, not looking scraggly, is my peony back here. I believe this is Shirley Temple. Pink tutu underneath a white pom-pom with a pink center. So pretty. Not many buds on it because it's not really in full sun in the summertime. This time of year it gets more sun than it does later on. So it probably would prefer a sunnier site, but that's just so pretty. Talk about fleeting blooms. Peonies really only last like 2 or 3 days, and that's if they don't get rained on. And again, the north side shrub border, it needs some attention. I've got to take care of things in there. It's not doing very well. Also over here, there is a Juliet rose from David Austin right here. I am going to be moving that into the backyard because last year in its first season, the deer came along and ate it. And so this rose is no longer available in the United States from David Austin. I believe it is available still in the UK. And I was watching somebody's garden channel the other day, I forget whose, and they said that they had a friend in England send her some Juliet rose bare root to the US. But otherwise, I don't think it's available. And so I really want to take care of this one. And I don't want the deer to be getting it. So to the back, it will go. We still have this euphorbia blooming. It looks really nice. I think it's called Glacier Blue, if I remember correctly. And also we have this Amsonia. This is Storm Cloud Amsonia. It's hard to focus, I'm sorry, but it's got pretty blue star-shaped flowers on it. Its bloom is just about past peak, but I'm hoping that this clump will fill in and become bigger and bigger over the years. And then I do want to show you these irises. These are Dutch irises that I planted, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago, and they have never bloomed until this year. So I'm happy they're blooming, and so was that bumblebee. They just look so pretty here against the white fence. Very happy with that. I'm kind of touring this garden backwards, but here we are. This white azalea was here when we moved in, and I do not know its variety, but it is large, and it blooms pretty reliably for us. It's just about done. I'm actually happy that we've had like 5 or 6 days of rain and wind, and that took away all the dead flowers. So usually I have to hand pick the dead flowers off of here because they turn brown and look really bad. But this year, the rain and wind did it for me, so that's kind of actually nice. These are my lily trees. They're getting so big. They're going to be gorgeous around the 4th of July. I need to put some supports on them now because they do tend to flop over and lean toward the sun. So I need to get some stakes in there and some string on them and keep them corralled now before they get out of hand. Will I do it? We'll see. Oh, I forgot to mention while we were looking at this purple sensation allium that the Caradonna salvia is just getting ready to burst open as well. You may remember last year I planted onto these 2 tours. I got one on this side and one over there. I planted some Josephine clematis, and they bloom on old wood. So this one is blooming down here on the old wood that was here last year. It never climbed past this rung last year, and so it's not blooming on the stuff that's at the top. But look at all the new growth that's happening this year. It's actually taking hold and climbing up the support on 2 of the verticals. And so I'm really excited to see this continue to grow, and I'm really hopeful for some blooms all the way to the tippy top next year. The rest of this bed, I actually have a video that I shot that I haven't edited yet, but so I'll just tell you the upshot is that I took out my my encore azaleas that were in here. And so it has opened up this garden area, made it less congested, a little bit nicer looking, and it's going to give me some opportunity to kind of rearrange a little bit. I like to move plants around, but I think that there's opportunity to make this bed look a little bit nicer just by rearranging a tad, and then I'll be happier with it. But the Orange Rocket Barberry is very glorious. The Sunshine Ligustrum, not so much, so that one will probably be coming out. But I need to move that barberry away from the fairy rose that is in front of it, because from the other side, it just doesn't look all that great. See? I really want the fairy rose to be highlighted. It's not yet in bloom, but it is getting ready to send up a bunch of buds. And I think that the leaf size and shape is too similar. As you can see, the colors are totally different, of course, but the leaf size and shape is too similar in these two plants. So I want to move the barberry away from the rose, probably move it over back behind this clump of allium to give some separation and to give this fairy rose some room to really just be glorious on her own. There's some other things around it that I also want to move, so just a little rearranging to happen in here. There is another barberry back there by the porch, which is nice. Window boxes are coming along. We'll look at them closer in a minute. Sorry for all the mess. I have junk laying around. Oh, I'm guessing that you may have an area or two in your garden where you may have junk laying around as well, so I don't think I'm alone in that, but maybe. I don't know. Is there a gardener out there whose gardens always look perfectly composed and never junky? I don't know. Okay, continuing over on this side, we're looking for blooms, Jenny. I'm looking for blooms. Things are filling in. The allium are blooming. These, again, are purple sensation. There's one there that in the center that got chopped off on accident. I'm guessing a deer came through looking for food and bumped into it or something. Smoke bush. I say it's like a year old here in this location. I love the color. Now, I think I read that smoke bush only bloom every other year or something about trimming and pruning compared to the bloom cycle. I don't know. It did bloom last year. I don't know if it's going to this year, but I love the color, whether it blooms or not. Let me just scoot back in here real quick. Here's another peony. I forget its name. If I find it, I'll put it on the screen. This one has tons of buds on it. This was one that 2 years ago, I moved it from inside the backyard fence over there to this location, and it really has liked this location so much better. This is my spirea. I don't know its name. There's another one over on the other side, and they're reliably pink bloomers here in a couple of weeks. You can see buds coming on them. And these are my red knockout roses. Look, first bloom of the season there. Lots of buds to come here. Same thing across the way. What else do we have in here? There's another Miss Kim lilac right there that is blooming also. She's about 2 years younger than the one across the way. And then, let's go look at these irises. These irises came with me from Raleigh, North Carolina to here when we moved here 8 years ago. I don't know their variety name. I used to hate's a strong word. I used to not enjoy the colors of them because they were beige on top and maroon on the bottom. And the beige thing, it was just getting to me. The house we lived in Raleigh had zoysia grass. And when these bloomed in Raleigh, the grass had not yet gone from its winter beige to its summer green. And so I just felt like these irises blended into the brown grass and just were brown and looking yucky. But here in this garden, they have a different quality to them. There's not a beige thing around them to make them look dead. And instead, I can enjoy the beige color as a neutral, and then the maroon color blends into some of the other reds and maroon colors that we have in the garden. And there's one particular view that I want to show you that I think demonstrates what I'm talking about. If I come here and stand and look at the garden from this location, I'm just really pleased with the color combinations that we have in the garden. Now, granted, nobody usually stands here and admires the garden from this location, but it's just a view that gives me satisfaction to know that the color story that I'm telling in the garden is working. Something about the beige and maroon irises combined with the orange rocket barberries and the smoke bush and the lemon thread cypress, the borrowed view of the red Japanese maple up the street. I don't know. There's just something I love about this color combination. Also, the purples coming from this. The salvias and the alliums. I'm just very happy with this. The chartreuse of this privet here. Yeah, I'm enjoying the colors here. Now, from this angle, it looks a little bit more like it could use some work on the, I don't know, something about the planting pattern here isn't quite working yet. But I'm happy to say that the colors here on May 4th are working for me. All right, we're looking for more blooms. Okay, here are these Gerard's Rainbow Leucothoe. They are blooming right now. They have blooms that are really similar to Japanese Andromeda or Pieris japonica, also similar to blueberries. Some other types of plants bloom this way as well. But this one has some sort of disease on it. I don't know what it is, some sort of fungus. So I need to figure that out and see what kind of care regimen I need to do for it. I think that's just about all the blooms that are happening. Oh, right. Let's look at this salvia. This is another, I think, is this one May Night? Probably. Or maybe this one's Caradonna also. No, this is May Night. It's got the green stems. So it's blooming very happily here, although it's too close to the irises. And these irises I thought needed dividing as well, but they do have quite a few buds on them, so they're not suffering yet. They could stand to be divided, but it's not critical like the white ones. And then down here is the Caradonna sage. So two types of salvias. Both of them are my favorite. Can I say that? Ooh, let's look at this side view too. Yeah, I am happy with the colors that we have happening on the garden right now. Quick update on the window boxes. Snow Princess lobularia doing very well. Everything else is coming along, but we've had some cool weather that probably the Gomphrena hasn't enjoyed, and the petunias are, they're dealing with it, but they probably would prefer some more warmth as well. My porch containers, though, are pretty happy. They got Bacopa, Alyssum, and I guess that's Calibrachoa in there. These are not proven winners, but they're similar to them. And then in the center, the Dracaena. So these are both doing really nicely. Exactly the colors that I want for the front porch. And I'm really, really still pleased with these spherical obelisks here, which were a Christmas gift. And unfortunately, I couldn't find them any longer for sale on the site where I believe my daughter-in-law got them originally, but I will keep looking. I did find an Etsy version that you might want to be looking at, and I'll put that link down below if you're interested. And there's the other window box over here. Again, the lobularia is doing great, the Snow Princess. But the others, the petunias and the Gomphrena, they're waiting for the warm weather to come. Did I say I wanted this to be a quick tour? I don't know how quick it's going to be, but I'm going to try to no, I'm not going to speed it up because let's just keep walking. Okay. What's happening over here? I need to put something in there, don't I? Look at that. All right, let's just look. What's happening over here is that everything is greening up and looking really lush. It is definitely green and full and becoming beautiful. Hey, puppy. Hannah Banana, what you doing over there? You're a tail wagger. All right, so as far as looking for blooms, we're not going to find much in this garden, but we can look at see what's. This is a green velvet boxwood, and I know it's shaggy looking, but guess what? I love this shaggy look on this boxwood and on this one as well. So I'm not mad about that at all. I'm not even sure if I will be trimming them up because I just love the way that they look when the new fresh growth has just come out, and it's kind of, I don't know, there's something about it I just really like. Okay, over on this side, we got Brunnera over here. It hasn't bloomed as much this year as it has in years past, but it does have some blooms on it still. I haven't done any mulching yet. That's why all of my irrigation tubes are still showing everywhere that I have irrigation. All right, other blossoms. Where can I find blossoms? I'm going to be planting this hellebore here, but I haven't done it yet. Here's some more Brunnera blossoms. Pretty. These are some columbine that I bought, and I didn't get them planted while they were blooming, so I just put them in this container to let them bloom out. It's called Early Bird Pure Blue. No, Purple Blue. And they were purple blue. Now they're going to seed. And there are my shoes. What a mess. Okay, other blooms. Nothing else blooming. I guess the hellebores are still looking as if they're blooming. These are the old blooms from earlier this season, and they have gone to seed. So these will be dropping their seeds here, and making little babies here in a little bit. I'm happy with the contrast of all of these hostas and the Sun King Aurelia, Astilbe, Heuchera, Japanese painted fern, Pulmonaria, more Astilbe, and the June hosta. I really like this particular combination of leaf textures. Happy with that. And then over on this side, I have rearranged this garden, I don't know, 25 times it feels like. Probably not that many, but it feels like. And it needs it again, I think. Oh well. If you're one of the people who comment on my videos and say that I rearrange my plants too often and I'm setting them back and I'm keeping them from growing by doing that, then I understand your point of view and I thank you for watching and commenting on my videos. I will tell you though that I am not afraid to keep moving my plants until I get them where I want them. So I hope you can understand that. Every garden is up to the gardener to figure out what to do there. There are best practices and then there are the things that we do. So just FYI, that's my point of view on that. I am going to be making some changes in here, rearranging things. Now that I see with my eyes, not just with an expected growth rate, now that I see how things are, I need to make some changes. So I'm going to be putting some taller things in the back and some shorter things in the front, taking out some things, and I actually have a new tree that I'm going to be putting in here, roughly where that container is that's got that hosta in it. Roughly there, I'm going to be putting in a dogwood tree. So these, what are they? Heavenly Bamboo or Nandina domestica. There's 2 of them there, and there's 2 of them over there. Those are coming out. And when I do that project, I'll put it on a video and I'll explain my reasoning. But anyway, that's a thing that's going to be happening in here as well. But for now, they're still there, offering some greenery along the fence. Maybe one of these days I'll do an in-depth tour over here and remind you what all these plants are. But in the meantime, we've got some ostrich fern back there with some goat's beard, some quite a variety of hostas, heucheras. This is a volunteer Japanese maple that is suffering and had its main leader knocked off by a squirrel this winter. There's some more hostas, there's hellebores, there is a hydrangea back in there. This is my container that's got Steed's hollies in there that have quite a few yellow leaves on the interior. I'm hoping that's normal, but we'll see. And yeah, hostas, hellebores, heucheras, oh my. This is the double white bloodroot that my daughter-in-law's mother gave me, and look how big those leaves are. Those are like the size of my hand. It's crazy, incredible. Love them. This epimedium over here still got a few blooms on it. This is pink champagne, and I am in the market for more pink champagne epimedium. Can't find it yet though. Let's see, boxwoods there. This is my contorted filbert. Harry Lauder's walking stick, and I love it. Look at this. Isn't that just the coolest plant? I just feel like, I'm so happy to have that. Behind it, these are my Virginia bluebells that are done blooming, and now they're getting ready to turn yellow and die back and disappear for the season. Blooms, looking for blooms. Here's some. This is an encore azalea that I have in this pot. Needs some iron, looks like. It's pretty chlorotic, but it is blooming. There's a boxwood that needs some love and care. What are these little flowers here, guys? Do you know what this is? It's not Star of Bethlehem. That's what I thought they were, but that's not the name of them. But I don't know what they are. They have these really strappy leaves that have kind of a white stripe in the center, and then they open up to be these white flowers. If you know what those are, let me know. All right, everything's looking really green and lush, but the flowers are fewer than they were a couple of weeks ago. Hostas are all out. We've got some German irises here. I think after these bloom, I'm going to be moving them away because they get more and more shade every year and bloom less and less prolifically. So I think these are a pink mix. I don't know the varieties other than that. And then here is a lily bulb that tries every year to bloom and fails because it's in too much shade. I should just take it out. Here's my columbine. This is Biedermeier. It's on the tail end of its bloom cycle. And it's putting all of its seed heads out now. I've collected seeds off of this and successfully grown them. So that's a happy horticultural success in my garden. And then around the way here, hydrangea row back here is, I think most of the old wood buds got frozen off. So we're not going to have early blooms on it, but I do see some blossom buds coming along. So it just might take them a couple of weeks longer than normal, all 4 of them. Okay, I've gotten off track. This is not a full garden tour. This is a what's blooming and an overview. So let me get back on track. Okay, here we are, standing at the top, looking down. Everything is coming in and looking green and fresh, and I'm pretty happy. Looking for blossoms, looking for blossoms. Lily of the Valley is blooming. Just about done. Smells heavenly. And this astilbe is getting ready to bloom. It just hasn't opened yet. And this twist and shout hydrangea, do we see any buds on it anywhere? Maybe 1 or 2 buds coming along. There's one. Well, that will be blooming, it's just not yet. Turning around this way. All right. Candy Tuft are just about done. They're ready for me to come back and trim off all of those flower stalks, but they do have some seeds on them, which I'm going to let ripen and fall off before I trim them back. And the Snow Princess lobularia are coming along in the place of the Candy Tuft. I'm hoping that the lobularia, also known as Sweet Alyssum, will grow and thrive throughout the summer and replace the white from the Candy Tuft that I enjoyed so much this spring. The violas that I planted in here for some pops of purple are still doing nicely. I have some cleanup to do, don't I? This hydrangea has buds on it. That's good. I believe that's a Firelight Tidbit. Furman's Red Autumn Sage is blooming happily. I have not yet seen any hummingbirds on it, but I'm hopeful that this row of autumn sage will draw in the hummingbirds. I know that the hummingbirds loved it last year, so I'm hoping that it loves it this year as well. I'm having some chlorosis issues, it looks like. I probably should do a soil test and see if I'm having a pH imbalance. But otherwise in here, the Sweet Alyssum and the violas are looking really nice. And my perennials are coming along. There's my arborvitae that I just planted recently. Things are coming. Looking for blooms, looking for blooms. These white azaleas down here are now brown. We'll come to those a little bit later. All right, let's look on this side. Do we have anything blooming? No, I've got some seedlings there that need to get put in. Blossoms. Here we go. These orange flowers are, they were given to me last year. I think these are Siberian wallflowers. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what they are. I don't normally plant this color in my garden, but any gift from a friend I'll happily plant and be grateful. So thank you, Wendy, for those. Lilies are coming along, but not blooming yet. And my mini pearl phlox that I have in a lot of places in the garden have lots of buds on it, but it's not yet blooming. It's the earliest phlox that I have in the garden. Ooh, let's go look at these. About a month ago, I published a short where I showed you that I found some amaryllis in my garage, and they were really kind of neglected and suffering in there. So I pulled them out, set them on the driveway for a couple of weeks, and then I pulled them up here and put them in the garden. They're still in the containers that they were growing in the garage, and now look at the blooms. Spectacular. That's the apple blossom. This one is a red lion. It's opening today. There are 2 red lion stalks in there. I need to get some plant supports and separate them so the flowers don't get mangled. And then down here, I've got some, let me see if I can find the tags. Okay, I found the tags. This one is going to open up and be clown, so it's going to be colors and stripes. And then this one is called Christmas Gift, and I think it's a double. But the 2 stalks came up off of that one, so we're going to have tons of flowers on the Christmas Gift one. And same back here, this is another Christmas Gift. So these amaryllis that spent the winter so sadly in my garage, they're just happy as can be out here in these containers. So this was a happy surprise. I don't know what I'm going to do with them next. So I bought them in, let's see, Christmas season of 2021. They bloomed over the Christmas season as they normally do, that a lot of us do amaryllis at Christmas in December. And then I kept them and put them into pots in the summer of 2022. So they sat outside in these pots growing with their foliage all summer long last year, just gathering strength from the sun into their leaves. Then around about September, I stopped watering them and I put them into the garage so that they would go dormant. And my plan was to pull them out in November and start forcing them inside so that I could have them blooming again for Christmas of 2022. Well, as you may know, I forgot about them in the garage. They stayed in there all winter long, all through fall of 2022 and winter of 2023. And I found them about a month ago in the garage and pulled them out. And so this is what they do. So the normal life cycle of an amaryllis in the wild, do they grow wild? I guess they do somewhere, is that they are spring blooming bulb, just like your daffodils and tulips. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let these stay in their summer blooming cycle or their spring blooming cycle. I'm just going to let them bloom out, and then I'm going to hold them in these pots, fertilize them, care for them, and let them continue to gather strength from the sun this year again. And then I will overwinter them in the garage again and see what happens next spring. I'll pull them out again next spring and see what happens. I don't think I'm going to try to force them at Christmas time anymore. I think I'm just going to have them as a garden plant. We'll see how that goes. All right, moving around. Wood hyacinths down here. These are, I believe these are also, they're the same as Spanish bluebells, but maybe just a different variety. But they were sold under the name wood hyacinth. And they kind of got splayed out in the rain recently. All right, down in here, I accidentally knocked over one of my pots down the stairs, so I've got to do that cleanup. I should have done it before this tour. Oh, well. Let's go down into the patio and see. My color scheme down here is kind of reds and burgundies and purples and pinks. And so these heuchera here are really helping me out with that color scheme. I had 2 blossoms on my Chinese snowball this year. This is one of them. It's still going strong. It's about 2 weeks old now. And then let's look on the other side of this chair. Here we go. Here's some more heucheras, and this azalea is just about done, but it's happily shedding its pink flowers onto the ground right now for a pretty carpet of pink. This is a new ligustrum that I've put in. I can't remember if I published this video or not. I shot it, but anyway, this replaces a loropetalum that was just not happy here. So this, what is this? Leucothoe, excuse me. Did I say ligustrum? This is a Leucothoe, and I see the tag. Let's look at it. Coast Leucothoe. So this plant should do better here. It's a shade lover, and what I like about it is that the new growth on it has some red tinge to it, and some of the old leaves on it have a red tinge to it too. So that ties in with the color story that I've got going down here with the color of the heucheras. The stems of the Husker red penstemon back there has the red in it, and then the pink and red over here. So it's a nice combination of green with red / burgundy / pink / purple going on. I'm sad to report that my Mahonia absolutely did not survive the winter, so I will not be planting a whole row of Mahonia over here. Those are going to be coming out and being replaced with something yet to be determined. I have some Dicentra down here that is currently ending a bloom cycle, but I think this variety is supposed to bloom off and on all summer, I hope. I really, really, really love the foliage. It's so soft. It's soft looking even, delicate, and I love the color of it, and I love the flowers of it. It's just such a pretty woodlandy kind of plant. Very happy. The rest of this garden space is due for further development this year. We'll be having a lot of projects down in here, so more updates on this to come. Let's go around this way since we're back here. The Blue Point juniper that I transplanted last year is looking okay. It's fuller on one side than on another, so that's kind of weird. I might do some pruning to kind of even that up a little bit. We'll get up to that clematis in just a second, but first, terrible gardener. Jenny is awful. This is my can rose, which I did not get around to appropriately supporting. And so you can see it's just this arch of canes that come up and then bend over, and then they're all blooming back here behind everything. So yeah, bad Jenny. After it finishes this bloom cycle, I hope to address this rose and take better care of it. So we'll see. Pyracantha here is going gangbusters with its blooms this year. It didn't really do this last year, so I'm glad for that. Lots of blooms on it. I'm hoping that turns into lots of berries on it. However, I need to get it appropriately tied onto this fence. My goal here is to kind of almost what's the word? Espalier. Yeah, espalier this onto this fence. And I bought a second one with which to do the same, and I'm going to put the second one on this section of the fence. So I need to do that job, and I will make a video when I do that. All right. Cat's Pajamas Nepeta, doing exactly what I had hoped it would do. Although the leucogem foliage here is kind of messing up my beautiful anticipated view, but also the weeds. This green monstrosity here is feverfew. I planted feverfew from seed last year, had 3 little plants, 1, 2, and maybe 4 plants, 1 on the front and 1 on the side. And they are perennial. Who knew? And look how big they are. This is all feverfew. They haven't bloomed yet, obviously, but I'm happy camper to have this robust, beautiful greenery here, hiding the bare legs of my rose, hiding the bare legs of my obelisk here, and filling in the gaps and covering the garden. So hopefully when this blooms, it'll just be gorgeous. Okay, I don't believe we have any other blooms up in this way, but let's look at Nellie. Oh yes, Nellie Moser clematis. This is like, I don't know, is there something called perfection in a garden? If so, this is it. Looking at her from this side. I mean, who can argue with that? Just so pretty. All right, moving along this way. Here is a salvia. I bought this with no labels on it, and I now can't remember what I did do the research to figure out what it is. I can't remember, so I'll do the research again and get it up on the screen for you. But I have, I believe, 3 of these plants. One of them is much smaller than the other 2, but they're getting ready to bloom. Other blooms in here, I think, are pretty much done. Those azaleas will come to in a second. Let's look at this center bed. This is my perennial bed. Candy tuft is done. Did I ever show you my pink dandelions? Here they are. They've gone through a bloom cycle already. I'll put some photos up of it. I don't think I shared it in a video, but I planted pink dandelion seeds last year. They didn't ever flower for me, but they did this year. And I have popped the seed heads off of them so that they wouldn't spread into our neighbors. Because, you know, not everybody wants dandelions in their grass, but I am cultivating these because they were so pretty. In here, tulips are done. I've planted some, I believe, stock plants in here from seed, and some of them are coming along fine. I'm hoping that the warm weather that we're getting will help them come along further. Let's see. Strawberries are doing good. These are the quinault version. So far, the netting's working on that. On the second tier strawberries, I had to take off the netting that I had on it because the plants were outgrowing the space that I had allotted to them. So I took them off, and then I said to myself, well, I'll look for evidence of any critters taking my strawberries, and when I see evidence, I'll figure out a new netting plan. And so now, of course, I do see evidence. These used to be strawberries at the end of these stems, and now they're not. So I do need to figure out a new netting plan for these strawberries, but overall, the plants seem to be healthy. I've got 4 different varieties in here, and I'm hoping to get some berries off of them and not sacrifice them all to the critters in the neighborhood, including slugs. And then back in here, there are some Camelot foxglove starts, some snapdragons, which don't seem to have made it, some dandelions, which are thriving. Actually, that might not be dandelion. It might be a different kind of weed. I don't know. More snaps over there that aren't doing great. Back that way are some larkspur and some stock and bachelor buttons here. I've already gotten 1 pink and 1 blue flower off of my bachelor buttons, but everything else is just still in tight bud. And then, yeah, we'll talk about what else is over there in just a second. Okay, and then up in the veg garden, my bok choy went to seed. So I'm allowing it to go to seed now and letting the pollinators do their thing, and hopefully we'll get some bok choy seeds off of this. And for a minute, it's a pretty yellow flower in the garden. Let's see, Brussels sprouts are under these containers here. The wire baskets are intended to keep the cabbage white butterflies off, which seems to be working. This won't work against aphids or slugs, but it's working against the butterflies so far. Here's the potato patch, looking really robust and healthy here. Happy with that. Bobo hydrangea. My onion border is not happy, and I don't know why. We've had like a lot of rain lately, so maybe it doesn't like that. It hasn't been stepped on, I don't think. So I don't know what's happened with that. Don't know why these are turning yellow already. I feel like it's too early for them to be turning yellow. So I don't know what's going on there. These are my pixie cabbages. These are dwarf cabbages. They should only be like 9 inches each. I'm keeping them under the covers for a little while longer, but soon they'll have to come out of those baskets. And I'll have to come up with another method to protect them from being eaten. In this bed, I've got some spinach from seed and some kale from seed. Hard to see right now. Lettuce has been really yummy. We've been eating a lot of lettuce for dinner. And the other veg are coming along. As far as blooms are concerned, these peas in the center, which are shelling peas, have been blooming and are putting on pea pods. There are more on the other side because the other side gets more sun. The 2 kinds of snap peas that I have not yet bloomed. There's one kind there and one kind here. So they haven't bloomed yet. So, yeah, okay. And then the last thing I wanted to tell you about in the backyard is that I put my tomatoes in too early, so I've had to cover them with these plastic cloches for the last week or so. But I do have tomato plants up there, and 3 here, and 3 down here. I was much too early putting them in. I got confident because we had such warm weather in April, and then we had a week of cold weather with nights in the low 40s and highs in the low 50s. And so I had to keep them covered for a while. But I think our forecast is now coming back up to nights in the 50s and highs in the 60s and 70s for the next 10 days. So I'm hopeful that I didn't ruin my tomatoes by putting them in too early, but we'll see. All right, and over here on this side of the garden, up against the fence, the white azaleas, these are snow white azaleas, are done blooming and turning brown. And this is what I was talking about with the white azalea out front. The wind and rain took off the brown flowers out front, but it didn't do it back here. So I'm going to have to clean these off once they finish turning brown. There's my second arb that we planted in a video recently. And then across the way, moving slowly, hi Hannah, across the way over against that fence over there is the third arb. They're all doing well, and thank you all for your comments about that video and the design choices that we made. What do you think, Hannah? Is our tour over? Hannah and I think that that is a good tour for today. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this walk around the garden. Cup of coffee, which I've only spilled on my shirt twice since we've been walking. Thank you for joining. I hope that you're having a great day in your garden, wherever you are, and I hope you'll come back and join us for more videos in the future. Have a great day. Bye-bye.